running out of money. What would cause them to run out of money?
Not budgeting accurately.
Inflation,
overspending.
Not enough income.
Not enough income.
So they can't afford their lifestyle.
Getting bumped into a different tax rate.
Absolutely. Required minimum distributions do that to people all the time. A market correction. And then needing to withdraw from your accounts. That absolutely. It's true. Healthcare costs.
Unexpected, unforeseen.
Long-term care.
Or sickness.
Absolutely.
Stay in a
children.
nursing home.
Yeah. It's usually market.
An accident for a loved one.
Yes.
Your loved one close to you.
So these are threats, and these are things that we have to do our due diligence. If we're going to, really help you, we consider all of these elements and all of these threats and all of these risks to make sure that no matter what happens, you're protected. Because once you retire, you're going into another domain of life, and you are very vulnerable. You're not going back to work tomorrow. Getting a job just suddenly became almost impossible, and it just becomes, and your health is more fragile. There's just so many other things. There's so many other variables, and I believe it is our duty, humanitarian duty, to make sure that we're setting you up for success. More importantly, for protection in those years, because like I said, you're very vulnerable.
And we're again, this. I think important to remember that we're completely independent and not bound to any group of big house, or they call them big house or box house, whatever they call some of the.
Yes.
Only a certain group.
Do you have a pen over there? And maybe a paper.
Choices.
Whoops. I want you to try this. Oh, sorry. Oh, here we go. Try this phone number for me.
Try a phone number from the, okay.
I wanted to call and have a guest on, but I don't know if he'll answer. He might be a little too shy.
I think
it's emotional.
Press the green button and dial.
You try it.
All right.
So in part of this, what I like is going through this process really is what helps you get what they get your financial affairs in order, right? Okay, sorry. Getting your financial affairs in order and having you and your family prepared. That's a really, really important thing. And it's funny because we never expect it. I think once the closer someone approaches the age of 50, they really start to think about these things.
The
call has been forwarded to
No, he didn't answer. Okay.
All right.
He's a little shy.
In a few minutes, maybe.
Yeah, we'll try him again. I'm gonna keep pressuring him. He's probably like, no. It's okay. But I'll still share his good news, but I want him to share it for us if he would come on. And but one of the things is, this is how people say, oh, you have to get your affairs in order. And or if you ask, probably if you know how people go around with the little interview, you see them on social media, they're just randomly ask people questions like, who was the 14th president? I would look like a moron, by the way. If I ever see someone on the street, if I ever see someone on the street with like the little microphone and the camera, I am turning and running, because it doesn't matter what I know, they will ask me something I don't know for sure, and I will look like the biggest ditz. So anyways, if you went around and asked people, do you feel like you have your financial affairs in order? Do you feel like most people think that they feel like, yeah, I have my financial affairs in order?
Probably not.
That one person that is driving right now is like, I do. Yeah.
Call in. Tell us about your sound plan if you want to share.
It
or
feels
your lack of planning,
so
where you need help.
good.
Where you found some help. 772-221-1100. This is a live broadcast. You're listening to the Mindie Molina Show. 772-221-1100.
I think it's so important. And there's a really, really awesome emotion attached to it. When you feel like, I have my affairs in order. Like, I really do. That is just a really big accomplishment. And it's a success in life that I think many people are so close to.
It's like the BMW commercial that says, you have arrived.
Yeah, you have arrived.
You have arrived. If you can afford to drive a BMW.
I can tell you the moment I arrived. So we were in Bermuda.
Feel comfortable. Yes.
Yes, I was in Bermuda, and it was like a work conference. And so we're sitting at this big table. I was in my late 20s. And, it was one of those like all inclusive where they pay for you to go. So I'm there enjoying my life, and my brother was with me, and they bring out our food, and then they set this little bitty thing in front of us, and I was like, what is this? She says, that's a quench your palate. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, I thought that was the name of the food. And she's like, no, you eat it, and
is it like sorbet?
Have
I have
arrived.
to eat this little cold thing to
like,
my palate. So
yes, to prepare for the next. I have arrived.
Yeah,
I know. So anyways, another really awesome way to arrive is to have your financial affairs in order. And whether you have, thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, having your affairs in order doesn't necessarily mean being like super wealthy. It just means checking the boxes, making sure that you have a structure and that a plan, and based off of the situation that you currently have. Maybe you just now got your first job and you just need someone to help you with your 401k, which allocation should you do, and so on. Making wise decisions based on that is having your financial affairs in order. Then whether you are, a multi-millionaire and you need more advanced estate planning, you need to make sure that you're transferring wealth to your heirs as tax efficiently as possible. You want to make sure that it doesn't matter how much money you have, you want to remain independent in the event you become ill or you or your spouse become ill. You don't want to be a burden to your children. Having your financial affairs in order help your kids have peace of mind. Efficiency.
If you're trying to pass your wealth to your heirs, to your children and your children's children, are you in the most efficient plan possible? We help evaluate that.
Having everything organized, right? Just having that one plan, that one document that says, this is where everything is, this is how it's allocated, these are my beneficiaries.
A part of that plan to help families when they have a need, and God forbid a tragedy or something, we can help fill in some of those pieces. Especially a lot of times there's a strong financial planner in the family and a non-strong financier, someone who just doesn't want to be involved, or they're just busy. And so one spouse, many times in relationships, there's one person who's doing the finances and not the other. So,
yeah. And how do you transition that? So you're talking about a really good point, especially from a husband's perspective. I've seen this many times. It's where the husband is taking care of all the financial affairs in the house. And yes, they do have their financial affairs in order for their home and their household. However, if something ever happened to them,
they fell off the side of the earth.
Their wife would not be able to just take over because of the lack of knowledge or experience in that realm. And so she becomes vulnerable, because she becomes prey. She becomes prey for the predatory. Yeah.
Especially if they're not close to family, they're trusted family.
Yeah. And having these kind of written, documented plans, financial plans, having even like
security.
I have a couple files in my desk where I'm just the call. In the event something happens to the husband, the wife knows to call me, even though I'm not actually managing his accounts. Yeah, but he knows that if something happens to him, this isn't something she's going to be able to take over. He wants her to have a safe place with someone he can trust, that he knows she'll still be protected.
Answers and help doing whatever she needs done.
Exactly. And protection. I think that's the biggest.
Security, protection.
That's the biggest thing. And having these documents in order, everything, not just, people think, oh, your documents, they think, do you have a trust? Do you have a will? Do you have a health surrogate or a power of attorney? Well, we're talking about a written income strategy that says if something happens to you, this is the income that your wife will receive.
Right. Understanding the plan.
Having a written plan, having the documents that say this is exactly what will happen. This is our tax strategy. This is what we're trying to accomplish.
When that one person who was involved in all the planning is gone,
Mhm.
if you don't understand and know the plan, you could get off the plan and end up in a world of hurt potentially.
And there's a lot of advisors out there that don't understand like the Social Security system. They don't understand how investments can impact how they are being taxed on their Social Security. They don't understand Medicare premiums. They don't even know how to get a Medicare plan for their clients, or how the donut hole works, or parts A and B and part C and part D. They don't understand these things.
We haven't mentioned today, I don't believe that we're dual at the beginning of the program, but we are dual licensed.
That's why it's important. And that's why we go into such depth in this process that we use in order to provide protection for our clients. And one of the things is that whole healthcare segment and understanding, because at the end of the year, when you, or maybe something changes in your prescription plan, we want to be able to help guide you and be a resource for you to get the proper plan in place. Same thing for Medicare. Not everyone needs a Medicare supplement. Some people are happy and just fine with the Medicare Advantage plan, and some not, some with long-term care. But we ask you all these questions about your medical history because we also want to guide you in that area.
Another big problem, I think, for a lot of people that is very intimidating many times is the protection piece. Talking about life insurance, people get, frantic many times, I think, and it can be very confusing, and not having an agent that will be able to explain to you the different types of life insurance coverages and what purposes they serve and how you can use them in a strategy, in an overall strategy.
Yes.
And that's why I really like, and the Mindie's business model and the way we do business, and why I'm a part of it, is because I agree with her when we're talking about finances. How can we put together a financial plan and not talk about insurance?
Right.
I know most people that I know, including myself, have life insurance as a part of the financial portfolio that I built to protect my loved ones.
Yes, and life insurance, long-term care insurance products, Medicare insurance products, annuities, specifically even annuities. These are all designed to provide financial protection. So if you're going to be a financial advisor, give people advice, shouldn't you be highly educated when it comes to these insurance products and how they affect you?
It doesn't mean that an insurance product is an answer for all clients, or it might need one.
No.
But we have the expertise and the ability to provide both options and explain both options.
I think that's one of the biggest things that makes my process very unique, is because it does include all of these aspects. We're not just talking about an investment plan. We're talking about a way of life in retirement. We're building, our process is designed to provide you the way of life and protect that way of life.
And options that you might not be aware of.
Yes, educate you.
Strategies and options that you might not be aware of.
If falling, if I tell my clients all the time, don't fall, because you don't get on ladders, you don't have to paint your own house now. Like there's certain things.
Retirement one, the ones in retirement.
Yes,
This is still a live program, the Mindie Molina Show. Call in if you got a question or comment or a story you'd like to share with us, as we're talking about the process at Mindie Molina Investments and Insurance here in Stuart, Florida is our office. We have an office, free consultations. You can reach us here on the program today at 772-221-1100. You can find us at mindiemolina.com.
Thank you. Yes, so if I could...
Also Twitter, YouTube,
all the
Facebook.
Social media, just Google my name. If I could build into my planning how to protect my clients from falls, I would do that. But I haven't figured that out yet. So all of the threats.
Rule makers got so, just a little bit of a rabbit trail here about falls in the military and in OSHA requirements. Like once you're on top of a helicopter, if you're in an indoor facility, you have to be restrained, or you have to have a
harness.
You have to be harnessed to be on top of a helicopter, because it's more than 10 or 12 feet or whatever it was. And so a lot of the contractors that were doing a lot of Army aviation maintenance would build extensive platforms that could be pushed all around because it was just such a nightmare to have all these harnesses. Okay,
Yeah.
That's definitely a rabbit trail, but you know,
it's true though.
we
So
want to be protected from fall.
if you're if you're listening and you have parents at home, or you know that, you know, at some point you just have to be more careful, because based on my experience, the stories always start with a fall. Yes. And then it's downhill from there. So let's talk about the scenarios, because once we gather all of this information from you, which I make it sound way more dramatic than it actually is, but once we get all the information, then this is the second part that is so fun for me. This is like the other part of my job that I absolutely love, and that is creating 3 to 4 different retirement scenarios, like 3 different strategies that are different from each other. Maybe one is all in the market, like you're all in the market. Maybe one is
oh yeah.
Let's see.
Hello, you're listening to the Mindie Molina Show. How can we help?
Hi.
Hi there.
Question for
Mindie?
the lady that's talking about financial planning.
Yes, I'm here.
My question is, I'm listening to what you're presenting. How do you present, or how do you serve people who may not have all of, this financial income? Maybe they're just coming out of poverty and they're trying to, build. How would you help those type of clientele who might not own a house, who may not have any of this?
Well, okay, so you're right. Going through the process is always customized. So for example, if I say, well, tell me about your health insurance, and your answer is, I don't have any. Okay. Tell me about your health. Tell me about your history. The conversation is the same. The only difference is the answers. But at the end of, once we do this interview with you, we have a understanding of exactly where you are, whether you're coming out of poverty or you're uber wealthy. We have a high level view of where you stand. And then we can take that information and give you instruction on where to go from here, because and find opportunities or make recommendations. It could be that we say, listen, we want to help you find a better job. Maybe let's work on your credit. There are other things that we can offer as a resource. But one of the most important things is that when you're in that scenario where you're just starting out, the emergency fund is so important. Okay. You're not ready to invest until you've saved at least 6 months, right, of bills.
Ideally being able to, yeah.
Because if you can't start saving and having that emergency fund, the last thing you need to do is take on risk. You don't need to take on any risk yet, because as much as we want to believe this is like a to the moon, it's not gambling, it's investing. We're not trying to get that one big stock that just explodes. Yeah, that sounds great, but is it realistic? No, we want to be realistic. We want to create a real possible scenario for you that can provide value to your life.
So what's your name?
Larissa?
Larissa?
Yes, Larissa. That was just a question, because everybody's financial situation isn't,
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Where they're, really able to invest right now, but they need to, have some strategy.
How are we going to level up? How are we going to level it?
Sit down. You come on in and sit down with us.
And what's the name of this program?
The Mindie Molina Show.
I'm Mindie Molina.
Oh, Mindie Molina, and that's your financial planning business?
It is the Mindie Molina Insurance and Investments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get some information.
Well, we'd be happy to help you, or any of your family that's looking to start building, because we all start somewhere.
Gotta have a strategy.
We all start somewhere. And the teaching element of it, going back to what we started in the beginning of the show, how important it is for us to teach you how to build, how to grow.
Like my family, I didn't, many times this could be generational, and these are strongholds even the enemy likes to use to keep families down.
Yeah.
Like my mom and dad were terrible with their finances. They were terrible. And I didn't learn finances from my mom and dad. I learned all the bad examples. So
Yeah,
I had to learn
you're
on my
right.
own. I mean, they would argue and yell at each other, and it was about money most of the time.
So how do you overcome those generational
By the blood of
strongholds?
the Lamb.
Is there, well, I'm asking more specifics. Is there a pray? Do you pray? You just pray over it? Is it like
Absolutely.
a,
I prayed about it. I attend.
And
I
you practice
fellowship.
different habits. You practice different habits. You
That's-
got to see, things that they were doing that, got them in that situation and really look and see, what can you do different?
One of the things too was fellowshipping in
Yes.
a born
Mentor.
again, Bible believing, God
Mentorship.
honoring church that put the word of God out and taught the principles and statutes and commands and ordinances of the Lord, and get around people like that, and
finding
association there.
Absolutely.
By association.
Getting good advice and finding answers, because it's a building step. It's step by step.
I learned a lot by listening to radio. Christian radio. It used to be Larry Burkett used to be on the radio. Money Sense or Common Sense or Money Matters. Money Matters.
Money Matters.
Money Matters. Larry Burkett.
Well, you're.
Yeah, because I do listen to Dave Ramsey, and
Yes.
that's the only person I've really been listening to as far as finances and stuff.
Good for you.
Yeah, that is really good. And even if you call in, we could email you this format, because I think if you did the expense worksheet, it would really help you get started with your budget and understanding your income, what you have coming in, and your expenses, what you have coming out. And it's simple math.
You want to take her email? I can email her the fact sheet.
Well, she's got it, I think.
Okay. You got it. Okay.
She
perfect.
probably doesn't want to give that out over the air.
Larissa? Oh yeah, maybe.
All right, Larissa, we thank you so much for calling in, and be blessed. Really appreciate it.
I have one more thing to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week, Friday, I called in about BTP as in Paul, BTP Notary Services. We, I said I was going to pledge that whatever, came in that Friday, whatever signing I did that day or book. So we did get 2 books, so I am going to get the proceeds from those 2 bookings that was scheduled on Friday. I'll send those funds in to the radio show just like I promised it.
Oh,
thank you.
Glory to God.
Yeah. So
are you a notary? Larissa, are you a notary?
I am. I'm a notary signing agent.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, we'll save your number.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right.
And it's B as in boy, T as in Tom, P as in Paul?
Yes, BTP Notary Services, and we're located in Vero Beach, Florida.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, Larissa. You have a great day. Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
So with the scenarios, one of the things is creating these visuals where you can really see how things will play out. Because once we enter all the information into the software, like Frank was talking about earlier, we're able to show you and let the numbers just play out year by year, how much money you will have left over, because we're going to show how much income's coming in, Social Security, any pensions, annuity income from your investments,
assets, how they'll accumulate or
whether it's properties,
be distributed.
Exactly. So it lays out the spreadsheet for you to give you scenario number 1. If you were to put all of your money in the market and 5 years from now, we had a market crash and you were withdrawing this much money and you're getting this much money from Social Security, how would that impact you? How much money would you end up having at 85 years old? If your spouse passed away at 75 and you lived to be 100, how is that going to affect you? We can run all these different scenarios and really paint these amazing pictures to give you real numbers. Because remember what I said about numbers?
They don't lie.
That's right. So we can give you real numbers and real scenarios and help you identify how much risk you should be taking. Because I say, as an advisor, it's partially our duty to determine what risk tolerance you are, not just fill out this form and
there's even strategies that people can take that would be no risk.
Yes, maybe a fixed
with no risk. And that's again one of the
Absolutely.
reasons that I believe being duly licensed is really helpful in this industry, because you can help folks get into a guaranteed, create their own pension,
Guaranteed
through
income
annuities or other
streams.
products.
Yes.
Like
So you can
annuities.
use fixed annuities, right?
Yeah.
That are paying 5 to 6% right now, strung out over 10 years. That might be all you need. You might not need to take on all of this risk in order to retire and live happily ever after. The other thing is, these certain annuities, some of them offer long-term care benefits,
Right.
which is huge. So you could have long-term care benefits and an income stream for life.
There's some downsides if you know you're not as liquid if you put yourself in an annuity. So there's some downsides if you need liquidity, but if you don't need liquidity and you're looking for safety,
that's part of the planning.
Right.
So I have to say, all the years that I've been doing this, I've never had a situation where somebody came and said they needed liquidity because no, because it's part of the planning process. Okay. So there's very, very few, if you're doing all of the due diligence that we're doing. And when you say liquidity, if you told me, let's put my money in the market, and let's say you give me $1 million, you put it in the market, and you say, promise me I'll never lose more than 10%.
Can't do it.
And so with an annuity, you can, and we call that a liquidity issue. That's not a liquidity problem. Liquidity means not being able to have your money, period, right? With this, worst case scenario is you lose 10%, which is not in the market. The market is considered liquid. Are you following me? The market is considered liquid.
If you took your money out of the annuity, there's a lot of fees, right? If you close the annuity in the first year.
The worst that can happen is you lose 10% in the first year. So that's not that big of an issue if you're comparing it to the market, stock market. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, because I don't want, I think that that's a myth and and kind of like this hurdle that people have, that they think annuities lock up their money. And then they're depriving themselves of such huge
You could create that
opportunities
income, though, with these products in the next month or years away in the future. They can be designed in multiple different ways where you're storing the money for later.
So anyways, we got on a tangent. The point is, we can create scenarios to show you all your different options so that you can have a really clear visual of how you want to retire. What plan is going to be the best for you versus whatever the financial institution is selling that week. Instead, we create these customized plans for you so that you can choose what's best for you and your future. And then it's an ongoing implementation. We implement, and then it's an ongoing review, and just staying in touch and maintaining that relationship and adjusting as time goes on. Things happen and changes. But it's all really just easy after that. It's just easy. It's just low maintenance, very low maintenance.
Anything else you wanted to cover? We're nearing the end of the program today on the Mindie Molina Show.
That's it. I mean, that is the process, I think. It's a little deep dive into everything that we do. And I'm sad I wasn't able to get my brother on the phone, but I'm very, very happy to share that he is, his PET scan came back today, and he is doing very, very, very well. After 3 years. They gave him 3 years to live, and 3 years later, he's just a walking miracle. So healthy as can be. Well, I thank all of you for being with us tonight. Be safe, and remember, God loves you, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.